Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Dr. Mark Arcuri in Santa Fe, New Mexico this evening, and I appreciate you coming back to listen again. And tonight's topic, as we count down to the end of the year holidays, is called I See God in Everyone. And this is one of my favorite topics lately, and especially at this time of the year, as I said, as we count down through the holidays and to the end of the year and the beginning of the new year. It's super, super important to be aware of ourselves in relation to other people, and to particularly be aware of how we respond to other people, and to take a look again, as we've said before, at how our responses to other people give us a big clue to who we really are. And as members of the human race, as we go through this process of rediscovery, the journey that we've been on, and reconnect with who we really are, we invariably start to question what we are. I think one question logically leads to the other. As we discover who, we also must wonder what. And I try to stay a step or two ahead in my work of what I'm teaching other people and talking about these broadcasts and working on in coaching sessions and even in my writing. I've got to test things out, and I want to test the waters, but I also want to ponder some of the questions that I anticipate that other people might have, so I can think through them a little bit and have a bit of an insight to offer, and then bat that around with people to see if it makes sense. So in my quest, as I've gone through this inner process of rediscovery and this quest for a deeper understanding of who I am, and looking at ways to reconnect with that essence of who I really am, aside from the roles that I've been taught to play, it seemed like a logical next step for me personally to ask that question. Well, if I'm getting to know who I am, then what am I? How can I answer that question? So I've thought a lot about the path of reconnection throughout my life, and I've shared some of that with you in past episodes. And, about the clues that I'm gathering, the pieces of my puzzle, as I call them. And one of them has stood out as probably the most important at this juncture on my journey. And for sure, that changes over time for most of us, that the questions that we ask will be different ones at different times. But at this juncture, the most important question to me has to do with the idea of mirrors. And we've talked about that at other times as well. What we see in others, what we notice, and what we react to, those things that we judge as either good or bad, rather than simply noticing them without paying too much attention at all, these things are the aspects of ourselves that we're not fully embracing. There's something about these things that cause us some kind of unrest or discomfort. We're not fully owning them. And as I said, these qualities that we see can either be good or bad, but regardless, by virtue of the fact that we notice them so strongly, there's something about those aspects that we're not fully owning, and they're worth taking a look at. But this part of the path of rediscovery is, seeing aspects of ourselves in others. It's not just a passive process. We don't have to simply observe how we react to others to see parts of ourselves. Although that's a big part of the rediscovery that we do, it doesn't have to be passive. And what I want to suggest tonight is that we can also impose, if you will, aspects on others. Now, remember that we're all universal beings. So all aspects that you can imagine, whether you see them in other people or see them in yourself, we all possess every one of those aspects. Now, whether we see them or not is one thing, but we all possess them. We're capable of them. So we can impose ourselves, or I should say we can kind of force ourselves, I guess, to look at aspects in other people that we may not want to look at, but we want to see if we can tease apart and find those things in what we observe about them. So we can force ourselves, in a sense, to do that. And it may be hard, but we can find them if we really look. So what I've been experimenting with, and I think this will make a little bit more sense once I key you in on this, what I've been experimenting with is seeing God in everyone the past few weeks. And I say that you might understand me a little bit more and how that's a process sometimes of imposing my desire to see that in someone on another person, because, we all encounter people in our lives that we want to think is anything but God-like. But if we can impose that and look for it and dig around a little bit, we can usually find it. So with the holidays underway, it's a great experience as I open myself to the gifts of other people's beingness and what they bring into my life and what they can bring into my life that's different from what I normally see if I really, really look and try to find those things that I'd rather be seeing. So I've learned that the greatest gift that anyone can give me is to be authentic to who they are. And I think that's very godlike. And I'm also learning that the greatest gift I can give in return is the same. And it's been a really interesting experience these few weeks. And what I find is that it's more challenging with some people, and I think you'll probably agree with that, to find that God essence than with others. With some people I've encountered along the way, it seems like I automatically focus on their circumstances, the external shell of what I see. So maybe a homeless person or someone with a heartbreaking medical condition. And I see that every day in my work when I do psychoeducational evaluations, and in some of my coaching clients as well, that some of these clients, many of them are homeless, and many of them have these medical conditions that are just so difficult. But what I find myself being drawn to do, I hate to say it, but maybe it's by human nature, is that I judge them for being homeless, or I judge them for my perception that their medical condition is what it is because they're not taking better care of themselves. And with some others, I've seen maybe an attitude that rubbed me a wrong way. So it may not be a life situation, but more of maybe a personality aspect of them. And still others, maybe there are some people who I've seen that are a bit too differential or seem to have a hard time mobilizing their strength. And in my mind, I immediately go to what I'm judging is wrong with them. And in that sense, I'm blaming them for their situation. But in all these cases, when I tried to look beyond my reactions and find a God essence with them, however I might define that, I had a really, really hard time. And I think that's pretty normal. But if I really thought about it, and sometimes it would have to happen in retrospect because I wasn't into the habit enough yet, but was there a glimmer in their eye that perhaps transcended the outward being, the part of them that I was judging? If you really look deep into someone's eyes, you can often see a part of them that isn't apparent if you just make a judgment. A momentary stepping back from the front that they're putting up. You know, lots of times people, even though they're trying to act tough or they're trying to act like they're not vulnerable, they're trying to play a role, we all have that moment that other people can kind of see through it. I remember a client just recently, and she could so easily mobilize anger, even in our work together. But given a moment, and given my willingness to let her just be angry, it would subside, and a much more authentic sensitivity and wisdom could come through. And that was her God essence. But just as quickly, the anger was back. But at least I could see that true essence. I could see that God essence was in there. So like I said, it was a challenge sometimes as I've been experimenting with this in the past few weeks. But I also stayed mindful from our discussions about how others are our mirror. And that to the degree that I reacted, these were things to take a look at in my own life. But what I learned even more was that my struggle to find the God essence in someone else represented my own challenge to find it within myself. And if you've been listening along these past several weeks, that probably doesn't surprise you. What I see in someone else is a reflection of what's going on for me. So everyone has a godness about them, even if it seems hidden. And while it might seem hidden to me, someone else might see it right away in that same person. It's there. But it has to be uncovered. If I'm unwilling to do that, I'm unwilling to see that godness in myself. If I struggle to do it, willing or not, but if I struggle, there's a good chance I struggle to uncover that godness in myself. If I'm bothered that others don't seem to be very godlike, then there's a really good chance that I also don't seem very godlike to other people. So how can I embrace that part of myself, become more comfortable with it, and make it part of all that I do? Well, I can intentionally look for it in others and celebrate it when I see it, no matter how small it is. A glimmer, again, a glimmer in the eye, and say, hey, I see something different in you in this millisecond, and I want to honor that. And what that is completely of my own definition. I can define what that godness is. It can be a look in their eye, as I said. It could be a moment of vulnerability in someone who's trying to act tough and invincible. It could be a willingness to unapologetically be who they are, even if they're sick or homeless. No pretense. It is what it is. I need help. Anything helps. I saw the sign yesterday with someone on the corner. Anything helps. How godlike is that? Just being willing to say that. By allowing yourself to see these things in others and to find a way to become more comfortable with them, that's owning your own godness. And the more you own it in yourself, the more you'll see it in everyone around you. So that's what I want to leave you with tonight as we count down into the deeper holidays of the month. I read somewhere that Christmas is something that something like 90% of Americans celebrate, but only about 50% consider it a religious holiday. So I don't need to be imposing a religious doctrine on you to say that we're getting into the throes of Christmas. But certainly, if nothing else, into the new year to come. So think about it. Think about as you go through your day tomorrow or the evening tonight, if it's fresh on your mind. Take a look around you and just pick somebody randomly and ask yourself, what is the godness that I see in that person? And if you have a really hard time with it, ask yourself, is that because I'm having a hard time owning that within me? And if I dig a little bit and find it in them, will it make it easier to be that myself as well? So thanks, guys. Don't forget 2 things, super, super important. Our December free coaching giveaway contest runs through the 31st of the month. So be sure to go onto Facebook and you can click on the giveaway enter now, I think it is, tab on the Facebook page at facebook.com/Dr. Mark Arcuri. And you can also enter on any page at drmarkarcuri.com. You'll see a sign-up form to enter that contest. We'll be doing contests every month for different giveaways going forward, but this month it is a free coaching package, a month's worth of coaching with me, and that'll begin sometime in January, but we will announce the winner on Facebook Live and by email on January 9th, the evening of January 9th. And the second thing is our super, I can't wait to do this, kind of a group coaching concept. Our Holiday Detox 2019, it's 4 sessions, 4 live video or audio sessions, whatever you prefer. And if you can't call in live, you can listen to the replays and do it anyway. 4 sessions, about an hour each, with downloadable replays afterwards. It's only $20 through Christmas Eve. Again, you can sign up on Facebook or on our website. Look for the events tab at drmarkarcuri.com, or you'll see a tab called Holiday Detox 2019 on Facebook. $20 for the whole package until January 30th, December 24th, Christmas Eve, and after that until the beginning of the program, which is on January 10th. Until January 10th, it will be $40. So between Christmas Day and January 10th, when the program begins, $40. But if you sign up now until Christmas Eve, it's only $20. Thanks so much to all of you with lots of love and gratitude. This is Dr. Mark Arcuri, Santa Fe, New Mexico. See you next time, and we'll have a very, very special holiday message for you next Wednesday. Good night.